The forces of Gondor are under siege and now they must mount the walls and prepare to repel the invaders. Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish and welcome back to some more Total War Rise of Mordor. Today I have an absolutely spectacular siege battle which is going to be absolutely amazing because we are on one of the new custom maps. I actually don't know exactly what map this is supposed to be, but it looks really good. I love what the modders have actually done on the towers themselves, making them look a little bit more eastern, a little bit more Rad-like. It does actually look really cool until they get the full-on architecture in the game. So as you can see, we do have 3 Gondorian forces defending. The trebuchets for Gondor are unleashing hell upon the enemy. We're going to have a ton of these halberdiers, the normal Gondorian infantry, Aphelion rangers, and so much more ready to fight on the battle. I always love the look of the Gondorian archers. They look so amazing and really give me some nostalgia about watching the movies for the first time. The map itself obviously has an outer wall, which you can see is about to be assaulted, fairly depleted here, so some artillery could definitely make a breach or two in these walls. And then we obviously have this inner kind of death pit, which would be so good for archers. If anyone brings up a ram here, they're going to get absolutely hammered from missile fire from like every single side. So I can't imagine they're going to be, oh, they are actually doing it, but I guess there's no archers on the wall. The defenders have really decided to kind of fall back a little bit and defend the inner layers up these hills with only a kind of a small menial defense on the walls actually itself. The artillery as well is obviously bombarding, which is probably one of the reasons the defenders have decided to actually fall back, and already we can see a breach unleashing. I believe the attacking forces, we obviously have Mordor. Are they all 3 Mordor, or is there a mix? So yeah, it's Mordor. We got Dol Guldur over here, one of the amazing newer looking factions. You guys can see that armor looking really nice in the desert gloom. Some orcs just kind of running through as well. That looks amazing as they kind of just come through the ranks. That looks really good. I'm a big fan of that. So yeah, we have Mordor, we have Dol Guldur, we have over on this flank, we do have the forces of the Easterlings, so they've kind of come back to reclaim what they believe is theirs. And then finally on the far left-hand side, we have the forces of Isengard. So a nice little mix of attackers here, all of them coming with a different faction. Whereas I believe the defenders themselves are all Gondor, so they're going to be able to have to defend that. Do we have any fun like Swan Knights or anything? Yes, we do. We have 2 units of Swan Knights here. And that does look amazing. The architecture. The map makers have really stepped up their game in the most recent patches. They've done some really good maps recently. And yeah, super impressive. I mean, the overall, just the entirety of the Rise of Mordor project has really ramped up over the past couple months. It's super impressive with the new Dwarven roster and everything else. It's actually real very impressive kind of turnaround with the level of work they are outputting. So as you can see, we have several breaches in the walls already. Yeah, you can see just about there's a breach here, there's a breach over there, and there's a breach to the left there. So 3 breaches, and then we obviously have these siege towers all about just to amass their way onto the wall. You can see these soldiers themselves just obviously going to be taking these towers, taking the defensive positions, and then making their way down. We have like a unit of infantry here kind of just threatening to stop the berserkers from coming through. However, this sword infantry is going to quickly retreat back, realizing it's probably not worth it. You know, if you get stuck and get engaged here, you're going to obviously be hammered. But every use slowing up and disrupting the enemy formation is not a bad idea. Oh my no, we have these sappers. If these sappers blow themselves up here, that would not be good. So these are the explosive miners. Oh my god, the volley's coming in. I mean, really smart. I don't really know why these guys are pushing up this siege tower. But yeah, the defenders are doing something that Legolas could not. Bring them down, Legolas. And yeah, I'm surprised that these guys have been committed to the walls, because they obviously have the mines on their back and they explode when they get close to enemies. But yeah, as you can see, the rangers, I think, are just out of range now, maybe? Yeah, I think these archers are a little bit out of range now, the Aphelion rangers. But yeah, if they can just kind of edge them a little bit closer, it would not be a bad idea to kill that bomber unit. And I think they're going to be marching towards the enemy or moving into the enemy kind of a firing arc over there against the Uruk-hai archers. Either one would be a good target. One of the great things about the Aphelion rangers as well is that they can shoot while staying hidden as well. So they can actually kind of volley off from the enemy and be completely hidden from the enemy. They also have really good range. And in the most recent patches as well, the Rise of Mordor team have made it so that archers fire their ammunition a lot quicker now, so they're a lot more valuable in these battles they can kind of just, do a ton of damage and then pull out their swords and get themselves stuck in, which I think is a pretty good idea. You see the archers moving forward. However, it has seemed like there's maybe a bit of a bait and switch now as the Uruk-hai archers move up and the archer fire comes in again. Yeah, look at that range on them. Obviously focusing down the more heavily armored crossbows. The crossbows are going to fire back onto the Gondor sword infantry. Further along the settlement, we are seeing the hordes of orcs pouring into the settlement with full force. And finally we're going to get some cavalry engagements. Luckily though, the goblin infantry, or the Uruk infantry, do manage to form that deadly defensive position. However, them Swan Knights are able to do so much damage on that, taking a few casualties as they pull out, but definitely worth up to 72 kills on them right now. The Uruk Throng obviously taking a bit of a pounding, and that's going to be a harassment all the way up this hill. This defensive position is going to be a hard one to take, but that's exactly what the city's defenses are there for, to be hard to take. Another cavalry charge coming down, just cycle charging. They do form that shield wall, but they're not as braced as they could be, and another charge comes in, just so punishing. It really is. Cavalry can just be so deadly in this mod going down the hill. But as you can see, plenty more of the Swan Knights are getting embedded, and a handful more of them are dying. The attackers are chasing after them, trying to stop them from being able to do that. What they really need to do, honestly, is just form a shield wall, be super braced. They've got spears coming up now, which is obviously going to be the way that cavalry would not be able to do what they just did against spear infantry. When they were braced and formed up, they would take way more casualties. So what they need to do is they need to get a spear unit all the way up here, and then just have archers supporting that. So if this cavalry comes close, they get pounded by archers. That disrupts the charge, and obviously then they'll be charging into spears. So that's definitely the way to do it. But nice move there by the defenders, just kind of harassing the attackers as best as they can. There's another gate has been smashed down now as well, so they'll be able to start moving their way through, and the main defenses are preparing to hold. Obviously the walls have been taken, but now the rest of the infantry fight is preparing. We also have a unit of Swan Knights over here as well, but I think we're going to basically just be waiting a little bit for a lot of the evil infantry to get themselves inside the settlement. So what I'll do is I'll jump ahead until we are at that point where the infantry are ready to push on. Okay, the melee engagements have now kicked off. We've got some infantry here from the forces of the Easterlings, the Loke Rim, engaging against the Gondorian swords in the streets themselves. Heavy fighting. Both, I think these are two of the very best infantry in the game as well, at least for standardized infantry. We also have a unit of the Pelargir Marines moving up. These guys do throw javelins, so going to be looking to get a nice little flanking shot, I imagine, on these Loke Rim. Just obviously get around. However, the Loke Rim are not going to allow them to do that and quickly charge after. However, by doing that, they're going to be taking heavy casualties from this Gondorian sword. Luckily, though, more of the awesome-looking Eastling infantry have now just arrived. These guys can just embed their axes heavily and deeply into enemy armor, and they're going to be charging in there against the Gondorians who are trying to countercharge. However, the Pelargir Marines are trying to make their way across. We also are seeing some more archers being brought up on top of the walls. Obviously a great idea. These guys can then volley down onto the defenders and actually do some serious damage from above. Luckily, the Gondorians have kind of really noticed this and formed up a shield wall at the side, just kind of preparing themselves to countercharge if they need to, if the enemy get a little bit too cocky. But obviously, as soon as this position is lost, that will not be a good sign whatsoever. We have obviously seen the kind of casualties there. The Pelargir Marines have managed to get a lot of their javelins off, a lot of their harpoons off on the enemy. And that was enough with the pull through to actually break that unit of Loke Rim. They are running. However, the Axes are having a pretty good time of things against that kind of weakened Gondorian swords. The Pelargir Marines are running away from the shock infantry right now. Something I didn't even notice as well is we do have a lot of soldiers here. We have 19,000 men here. I guess not really all men. You know, we do have a lot of orcs here as well. But yeah, some pretty scary numbers right there as these Pelargir Marines are running for their lives. And I like this. Instead of just throwing them in, they are going to be pulling them back, trying to save that javelin volley, and they're going to need every single bit of it because that balanced power bar is not looking good for them one bit. But yeah, I really like this. The defenders are playing very well. They're playing very conservative. I've seen enough people just kind of give up these guys. If they get caught, they get caught. So actually putting them back is a good idea. However, they have now been caught and they're going to be taking some heavy casualties as they do that. As well as that, the Prince's Coast Guard are being bombarded by missile fire from the walls. However, that defensive kind of archer unit up there is also being hit pretty hard from the Aphelion Rangers back there. So a nice little trade-off with the forces. Do these, yeah, I was going to say, do these catapults have ammunition left? And it does seem like most of the, pretty much all of the attacking catapults still have ammunition left, which is a pretty good thing because then they can use it to bombard the defenses. Over on the side of things of Dol Guldur and Mordor, you can see them fully engaged against the Gondorian axes. There's also a unit of Gondorian spears here. The Uruk-Throng isn't exactly a great infantry for like breaking through enemy lines. I always see the medium tier, or I guess the upper tier of Mordor infantry. I think these are like tier 2s. These guys are more of just like a holding force. I never really expect massive things from my Uruk-Throng. They're just basically there to keep the enemy in place whilst your other units do all the work. The archers were able to get some serious damage right now. These guys up to only 6 kills so far, but I'm sure the Gondorian archers will be able to rack up a few more as the enemy continue to push on. And that does look pretty goddamn awesome as well, as you do see the enemy infantry, the tower in the distance as well. Yeah, it does not look bad one bit. More axes just charging in again, obviously reinforcing that position as they continue on the fight to beat back the enemy assaults. And you obviously see on this right hand side, Dol Guldur moving around. We've got some javelins being pushed up, and ooh, look at this as well. This is like the charging down at the Hornburg right here. That'd be pretty deadly if some cavalry were to come flying down there. And then here we go. We're going to get obviously see the Servants of the Eye, Mordor charging in their cavalry. And actually a really nice charge right there. We've got in slow-mo. You can see them just ripping through the enemy line. And obviously still ripping through these spears as well. You can't countercharge in this mod. You get absolutely massacred if you do so. And yeah, they're definitely going to be feeling the pain right there, losing a lot of these Marines. If they are able to obviously get some javelins off as the cavalry runs away. But so far, only 2 casualties there, or 3 casualties now for about 42 kills is not bad whatsoever. They definitely need some infantry to follow up on this foe, as if they get a javelin volley off into the back, it's going to be painful. They have just clicked it. Are they going to be able to do it? And this cavalry needs to keep on going. For some reason, the cavalry has stood still now, and now obviously making their way a bit further away. Losing only another horse, and there you go. The cavalry is out of there, which is good, and now the infantry can follow up there. So a nice move there by the forces of Mordor, just getting themselves stuck in as best as they can. And already the numbers seem like they are starting to dwindle in these defenses. There's still plenty of javelins left, but yeah, on this right-hand side, I don't know, there's not really a lot still kind of here to reinforce once they break through this initial position. And they've got obviously Goldor Glaives in here, which are a very good halberd infantry unit. You can see just the sheer scale of them weapons. They're a very, very, very good polearm infantry. And once they get stuck in, they can really tear apart the enemy. And it does seem like a lot more of the defenses are set up over here. However, a nice little charge right there. Oh, the Swan Knights unable to get stuck in there, unfortunately. And now the spears are being brought up. That should basically nullify a lot of them charges. However, yeah, they can't really charge in there. So I think they'll be looking to the other side. But there's a lot of spears. The attackers are doing a great job here at setting up their defenses. Oh, also, look at this as well. This unit of Gondor archers. If only they could, like, kind of volley down there. Or if only there was, like, some sort of, like, scorpion weapon as well they could just kind of launch off here. It'd be really cool to have a catapult or 2 up here. Past the aqueducts and then into the enemy lines. That'd be very, very cool. But right now, the city is under full-on assault, as you can see. And these streets are really starting to feel the pressure. And one of the things I really like about this map as well is there are so many ways to attack it. But, you know, they're choke points. So the defenders can quite easily hold them, but they have to stretch themselves thin to do so, which is I really like. You know, even in the inner layer, there are still 3 entrances in to the kind of the final stand, which I think, again, is very, very good. So it's a really nice kind of map design, but also it plays really well as well, which I think is also so important. A unit of reinforcements, the Prince's Coast Guards, have arrived. And these guys are going to be being pushed in here, and they're not a second too late, as the forces of Mordor seemingly are getting very close to breaking through here. They have their own unit of Guards of Atifa here. No wonder they're breaking through so much. The Guards of Atifa are one of the strongest halberd infantry units in the game. Super heavily armored, 47 melee attack, 65 morale. They're actually pretty fast as well. But yeah, no wonder they are able to push up. And that'll be a good match for the Prince's Coast Guard. But the Prince's Coast Guard should be able to kind of stem the bleeding for a little bit and kind of keep the enemy in place. I'm surprised that these javelins, these Pedagear Marines, haven't been committed to kill them, because that's definitely a target. If you have any targets you want to fire at with them, that is definitely one. And it does seem like the forces of evil have broken their way a bit slightly more inside the city, pushing back that initial defenses, and actually able to engage this unit of Aphelion Rangers, who seemingly are out of ammunition now. So that's probably one of the reasons why forces of Mordor here fully engaged with some of their Uruk-hai infantry. How many kills do the Uruk infantry have? Only 28 so far. Still able to really commit themselves against these Aphelion Rangers. We just can't quite, like, Aphelion Rangers are good, but they're not really obviously going to stand up to medium infantry as more of the forces of Mordor do start to push up. And yeah, again, there's not really a ton on this side. I guess they do have a fair amount of reserves they can just commit as the battle does continue, but I don't know. I'm kind of, I'm a little bit nervous, honestly, for the defenders. It seems like there is a lot of soldiers and there's a lot of defensive positions to try and hold, and eventually some of these defensive positions will begin to break, and then then you are really, really in trouble. But maybe the attackers are also stretching themselves very thin as well, and that can come back to bite them. They do have a lot of these good defensive positions. The archers are obviously racking up a lot of kills, I think, across the board. So far, this is really anybody's game as we go further along down the streets to all of the engagements. I really love this as well. I love the way that it's set up. But yeah, here you go. Is this the Coast Guard? No, the Coast Guards are still alive, sorry. But yeah, so the rest of the Gondorians gone. And now it's just really up to the Guards of the Teeth to try and break through. Yeah, 186 kills now on that unit. It's pretty goddamn impressive. And that routing Gondorian unit is definitely routing the wrong way through the enemy lines. These Guards of the Teeth do need to get a little bit of a push on those so they can get stuck into the enemy line. They could definitely break this unit. They really, really could. And then, obviously, they do have some reinforcements here. A spearman right there. But then all of a sudden, I mean, the main problem here is that once this unit breaks, they can then start filtering soldiers through here. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why more reinforcements are arriving. So a real nice communication, honestly, by the defending side. Seeing where they're weak and then, asking for help, asking for reinforcements, which is really good. But as I keep on saying, that's going to be the death of them, honestly, is if one of these, these defensive positions do break and they get soldiers through, that is going to be really, really painful. Over on this side as well, in the middle of the street, we haven't really seen too much from the forces of Mordor on the ground. But you can see them fully engaged now. We got some of their Wraith units. These guys are pretty deadly, honestly, along with the Orc Pillagers. I think one of the Orc Pillagers are one of my favourite units in the game, honestly. They're just so cost efficient. They're pretty cheap, and for what they are, they actually do some serious damage. However, I am still very much looking forward to more of the Mordor infantry. They are planning on adding later on down the line. They have been live streaming pretty frequently over on their YouTube channel, which I'll link down below in the description. Showing off the campaign map development, which is very exciting. Modeling 2D artists, animation stuff. And at the moment, they are really working on fleshing out the forces of Mordor, I believe. I think Mordor will be the next big faction to get a big overhaul, kind of like the Dwarfs did. Which will be amazing, because Mordor is one of my favourite factions in the game. And if we get Trolls and high-tier shock infantry, Mordor is just going to be unstoppable. Them Trolls are going to be able to get themselves stuck in and just do, incredible damage. So I'm very, very, very much looking forward to that. Oh, and we got a breakthrough. Oh, we do have a breach in the settlement. And that's what I'm saying, like, this unit needs to get their asses over here ASAP. Because if they don't, these forces of evil will come around and then they'll just completely open up this section. However, maybe they are committed to losing this anyway. And they're just deciding to fall back. There's a lot of missile fire coming off, though. That's what, 3 units of missile fire. And obviously that unit of Marines as well. They do need to be careful, and obviously, again, if they don't get this unit out of here fairly soon, then obviously all of a sudden they're going to be getting hit from this side and this side once this position does break. As we do obviously have the axes here, just cutting down the Aphelion Rangers. The Berserkers are now stuck in here, able to wield that sword pretty effectively. However, they are losing a handful of them. I'm surprised that the Berserkers aren't just cutting these guys down a little bit more effectively, as that guy gets completely disarmed. And then just cut through. Man, that was brutal. It really, really was. There's so many of the artillery animations which you rarely see. Are always very exciting when you do come up across it. Luckily, though, we have units of the Knights moving in. Knights of the Silver Swan. Any unit you want to help stem the bleeding. Able to bring down the enemy as they fall back again. 96 kills on them. And then, finally, we do have this unit of Princess Coast Guard being brought back. Gondor archers being thrown into the fight. I imagine, these guys are out of ammunition, which is obviously understandable to throw them in. So you can see that the differences in the new balance changes. Another cavalry charge here. I mean, this map just lends itself to that cavalry charge ripped through them. This unit has over 200 kills now. My God, the cavalry is definitely making the attackers bleed. They really, really are. But as you can see, the defenses have been broken here. And yeah, quite quickly, we're going to be seeing this unit enveloped. And then the fight down here. All the artillery is coming in now as well. Looking to try and burn the defenders from these defensive positions. Not a bad idea. A bit of friendly fire, but hey, I'm sure Sauron won't mind. Losing a few orcs here and then. Immediately, you do see the defenders pull back a unit. Not wanting to overload this position. And however, that's going to be a pretty good defensive stand right there. The Prince's Coast Guard just holding the line. Keeping the enemy at bay and obviously not giving up any quarter. And again, on this side, we have Citadel Guard up against Uruk Spear. So this battle is not going anywhere anytime soon. It's really not whatsoever. So I think the main breaches for the settlement are going to be kind of on this part of the battlefield right here. I think this side is going to be very much locked down. And obviously we do have the breach here, which is very good. But obviously they still have to get through another unit of Citadel Guard, which is going to be, extremely difficult to do. That unit is so tanky and really, just thrives in this. So I think, honestly, this part of the battlefield right here is not going to break until these guys can fight their way through, honestly. I think they're going to be up against it to actually break through. With some artillery rounds, they might be able to do it, but that Prince's Coast Guard is just super scary. We do have another unit of Guards of the Teeth being committed. They are obviously the focal point of the enemy missile fire. But yeah, with the reinforcements of the Guard of the Teeth, that's going to make things a little bit easier. But even still, they're going to take heavy casualties doing so. And you can see more of the assaulting forces being pushed up the settlement as quickly as they can. Man, look at that ramp as well. Really nice architecture, kind of design from the map maker. Very impressive indeed. But it doesn't really seem like there's too much left. I mean, maybe the defenders will fall back. It does seem like the defenders are pretty committed to defending this kind of second layer of the settlement. And we'll have to see if that does make it, enough for them. Because obviously, if as soon as one of the benefits of defending this inner layer is that there is only 3 entry points, whereas this outer layer there's 4 or 5, and that kind of adds up. I think it's like 5 or 6 even. There's one path right here as well. So as soon as kind of one of these breaches do occur and you start losing soldiers, then that's going to really put the rest of your positions, making the other positions very vulnerable to assault. And there you go, you can see that envelopment coming around this flank now. The Gondorians' infantry have had to be committed here, but they're obviously going to be no match for the Uruk-hai. Luckily, though, they have been able to kind of tilt the enemy infantry, and Citadel Guard are being reinforced here, so really looking to stop the envelopment from happening. And another unit of Gondor swords being brought down from the inner layers. And look at that as well, it's so cool. The Testudo there, throwing his way forward. One Gondorian infantry unit has really carved a path, though. But yeah, reinforcing here. The White Hand Stormers are an extremely good infantry unit. They're top tier infantry. Does seem like the archers are heavily focusing them down, but not able to really rack up too many kills on them with their archer volleys. And as we go further along down the line. Oh, this is a pretty interesting position. I mean, obviously there's plenty of infantry here. What do we have here? Citadel Guard to kind of block this point. But yeah, they are really pushing forward, so it'll be very interesting to see kind of where the break does come. I imagine when it is coming, because just that sheer number advantage. I mean, I say that, the defenders still have 5,000 men, and the attackers are starting to run a little bit low. Obviously, starting off with that close to, 600 man advantage. That is starting to dwindle now. We've only, around about roughly a 2,000 man, 3,000 man advantage. So we've already lost about 2,000 of the extra men. That is to be expected, though. Obviously, entering a city is never going to be super easy. The Guards of the Teeth as well aren't doing as great as I assume. I mean, they've racked up some decent kills, but those Prince's Coast Guard up to 244 kills is pretty impressive, honestly, as they continue to hold that line. And it seems like there's a lot of infantry not really doing too much. I think this needs to be a big breaking point, because if they can rip through here and just go into the back of these guys, that would be very deadly. But they obviously have to get through a unit of Gondorian infantry, which is never going to be good. They do have this unit of Guards of the Teeth, though, doing some serious work against the Citadel Guard. Already 20 of them taken down. And I really like this kind of focus point for the Guards of the Teeth. 300 kills on them. You can really just see the sheer strength of these halberds. The attackers also do have all that artillery fire still left remaining as well. As you can see, only 2 of these catapults still left remaining. They have a lot of their ammunition still left remaining. We have another set of artillery pieces over here, so we can definitely start to use these to their advantage and bombard. But the attackers are doing a great job of spreading out, kind of hiding behind the houses, willing to let the Saurons rot than anything else. And once again, this cavalry unit up to 300 kills. My god, I can't believe how well this cavalry, I mean, I can believe how well this cavalry's done, but it's not too hard to like counter, you know. You see this cavalry's coming, you immediately form shield wall, you bring up archers to kind of harass them, you bring up the artillery now, you know, these units are sitting right here. Cavalry is going to come in, and these guys have done a pretty good job at kind of setting up. However, they are a little bit thin, and that cavalry is going to be scared off. You see, look, that unit, you know, being braced is not a bad idea. And maybe lobbing in some artillery fire on that, some missile fire, and that's a great way to counter the cavalry and push them back. This is also an extremely expensive unit as well. So whenever they lose like a handful of these soldiers, that's a lot of the defending money they end up losing in this battle as we go further along the engagement. And then finally, I think this unit of archers, or these unit of Pelagian Marines, are very close to breaking. Definitely a great looking unit for the forces of Gondor, the first of Gondor. Having some very, very nice reinforcements. That's what, again, I really hope they do eventually go back to Gondor and add in some more of their, like, kind of Firth units as well. I think that'd be very, very nice to see. Obviously, we still need, like, Rohan being added. I think Rohan is definitely a faction a lot of people want to be seeing added. And then, you know, kind of fleshing out the Elven rosters, I think, are very important. But, you know, they are making really good progress with the mod recently. Super impressive. I can't wait to see the future as well. I mean, honestly, I'm just waiting for bloody trolls. That's like what I've been excited for a long time. Yeah, they're heavily working on the animations, but obviously it's slow going. You know, getting something that, you know, animates well, but also works well in the game, I imagine is such an arduous journey to partake. Because you can give the troll animations, but if they, you know, it doesn't really work in the game, and it's very hard to get stuck in. Obviously, this game isn't designed for beasts like that. And obviously, I think they're using like elephants as like an example, trying to get the way that the trolls attack to be a bit more like elephants, which I think is a great idea. You know, elephants are really the closest we've got. And then imagine when we get Mumakil later on down the line as well, because I think the trolls are very much the first initial kind of attempt at monsters, and then hopefully we'll get plenty more exciting stuff in the future. You know, then you can start to think about maybe we can get Sauron at some point. Oh, and the Gondorian infantry are actually falling back. That's super surprising. Actually, it's not that surprising looking at the way of things right now, because this unit of Prince's Coast Guard are finally going to be broken down, and this unit wants to get the hell out of there so it does not get sandwiched. And again, a really nice move there by the defenders. They are not sacrificing soldiers needlessly. You know, if I was probably playing, I would have been like, whatever, I don't really care. This unit can just fight here and get enveloped and then killed. But no, the defenders are fighting for every inch, but knowing when to retreat. However, this is going to leave a little bit of a vulnerable position right here, around here. They can obviously snake around and then get into the back here. The Citadel Guard are literally up to 100 kills now and lost barely any soldiers whatsoever. Entire units are perishing. Also, it does seem like this position is you know, kind of getting down a little bit. More reinforcements are being sent. This unit of Citadel Guard are definitely struggling. The Guards of the Teeth up to 200 kills now. Yeah, and if I was the attackers right now, I'd really be trying to go down here and catch some of the enemy units. I imagine they will just probably try and retreat. But yeah, definitely moving up there would not be a bad idea. We are seeing a unit of Fountain Guard being brought over, so Fountain Guard are probably going to try and block this path, buy them as much time as possible. I mean, obviously we do have the cavalry coming around as well. I mean, hopefully they can see this cavalry, you know, this very telegraph what we're planning on doing here. So hopefully we can see them set up a defense here and repel the enemy. Because even this depleted unit of Uruk Spears is going to be no match for the Swan Knights. They'll rip through that unit, as it simply is just not dense enough to really repel them. So they'll be quite happily taking them on. This position is looking very vulnerable now as well. And they have been able to actually envelop the spears right here. Oh my god, a complete overrun right now. And there's nothing here. There's literally only a unit of archers. There's very few in reserve. They need I mean, the defenders done such a good job, but they need to commit more men over here. Or bring some soldiers down, I think, because the Uruks are running through. I mean, they are very depleted. In fairness, the Uruks don't have a lot of men left. They have some fresh units in there. They've got more in reserve as well. So I think committing a unit of swords over here or something would not be a bad idea. But maybe they are going to kind of give up this position and kind of entice the enemy to come a little bit closer in. We've got 2 units of Fountain Guard back there, unit of Citadel Guard. There's no way they're kind of breaking in this. Yeah, another unit of Fountain Guard, another unit of Citadel Guard. So there is a lot still back in the inner layer. Actually, a lot in the inner layer. Oh my god, there is so much Fountain Guard in the inner layer. How the hell are they going to take these guys on? These guys, if you don't know, have big old pikes. They obviously have their swords out right now. But they are pike infantry. And you can see over on here, yeah, this unit right here has their pikes out. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see if they try and attempt that. But I mean, obviously the main goal isn't to do that. It's to, you know, to head down here and kind of open up other avenues to get more of their infantry in. Again, that Band's power bar is not looking good. The defenders down to 4,000 men now. The attackers 7,000. And that pressure is only mounting and mounting. Some more sword infantry has been brought down to deal with this oncoming assault as more of the arrow fire does try to hit the Fountain Guard. However, the archers have a very nice crossover volley here. They can't really see what they're shooting. They've just been told by the lookouts that there's enemies over that wall. Volley, volley, volley. And I mean, their arrows seemingly are finding their mark as the enemy get closer and closer. It's actually a really good range for these archers as well. I don't think they'd be able to reach that. That seems like quite a distance, but they are able to keep the enemy in range, and you can see it's doing damage, you know, making this flank a bit more vulnerable. We do have some Gondor pikes being brought up to deal with this, and obviously a big assault on this position here, up against the Citadel Guard, who have been decimated down to 33 men. Still racking up 114 kills, and the most important thing is they just held the line, which is really all you want from your Citadel Guard. You don't expect them to rack up a lot of kills. They basically enable the rest of your army to rack up them kills. As another volley comes in, you know, they keep the enemy in place for, you know, the advantage of these archers, who are now also racking up, you know, several kills. Oh my god, this guy's like 2 arrows in his eyes. But the pressure does continue to mount. Another line has been formed here, another Citadel Guard. You break through one and you have to immediately take on another. The artillery rounds are coming in, some of them falling pretty short. One actually getting a direct hit on this unit of Citadel Guard. And yeah, now is definitely the time to use the artillery. Does seem like the center is very much in a holding pattern now. I don't think they plan on breaking through here. Again, you know, Citadel Guard here with what you've got is probably not a great idea. I mean, even if the Loco Room Halberds could make quick work of them, honestly, committing them would not be a bad idea. They are really trying to break through the other positions as we have more Gondor infantry fighting against the Warlords of Rune now as well. So we've got Orcs and forces of Easterlings really committing now in this real final push, but more axes being thrown into the mix as well. Oh, that one getting absolutely brought down. Gondor showing their dominance now, heading back the enemy, back to whence they came. Also see, look at that, like all the siege towers as well. The settlement was truly under siege. I mean, look at all them siege towers. The Warlords of Rune definitely had that advantage in this battle. You know, they are much, much stronger. And there you go, yeah, look at that. More and more of the soldiers are being set up here. I'm surprised they are really committing to going in on this inner layer, honestly. I would have assumed they would have just really tried to, like, you know, cause harassments. But you can see the defenders are falling back with a lot of their soldiers. Just trying to make every unit count. But yeah, as I said, I'm surprised we're not seeing kind of the more of a focus being committed, like, to here. And instead they are planning on making their way into, because again, there's so much. I guess they can't see what's in this inner layer, but there is a lot here, right? As the Fountain Guard do form up, the servants of the eye just kind of see them like, okay, no, probably not going to be able to deal with that. But yeah, I guess they can't see what's in the inner layer, and they might think they might be able to just get away with capping and winning the battle. But yeah, I think definitely the play is to start hitting the enemy back positions, because if they can open up this settlement, then really there's nothing left. You know, there is only a handful of enemy infantry really left remaining here. If they can break through this unit of Gondor Sworded Infantry, as more Affiliate Rangers get thrown in, that completely opens up. I don't think there are, besides being a layer, I don't think there are any decent reserves left for Gondor one bit. But again, you know, there's still a 2,000 man advantage for the Forces of Evil. But that time it is ticking, and I'm slowly starting to see less ways in which the attackers will break through that inner layer, if I'm being honest. And maybe they will just be a big mass rat. You know, I'm starting to like the odds. Even though the balance of power is severely not in favor of the attackers, I am very much liking the odds of the defenders, honestly. You know, a lot of these Uruk soldiers still have decent numbers in them, but they are pretty depleted, honestly. And, you know, their morale is starting, yeah, look at that morale starting to drop. Honestly, I think at this point in the battle, I would hedge my bets on the defenders winning this. That inner layer is solid with Fountain Guard, thick armor and thick pikes. And the Uruks are exhausted. This has been a brutal fight. Gondor has forced them to fight for every inch of the settlement. And honestly, I just don't think they have enough at this point. I mean, there's still 6 minutes, 7 minutes left of the battle, so anything can happen. Real nice move up here by the Servants of the Eye here, charging into the Gondor swords, trying to bring down as many of them as possible. However, actually unable to really get themselves as stuck in as they would like. That would have been perfect if they could have got this unit of cavalry through here, like basically the Dartmouth cavalry did, and then into the back here. That would have been devastating. But you can see the fighting's actually stopped over on this side. And the attackers have actually come up, and you can see the Orc heads like rolling down the mountain. Yeah, look at that. An Uruk head just kind of bouncing down. Yeah, I mean, I think this is looking good. I think this is looking very good, but there's just not too much left. Even though they do still have these that number advantage, you know, they still have 5,000 men. That number advantage is dwindling, and yeah, there's just not too much left in the city. I can break through these pike walls. And the defenders is just playing really, really well. Oh, we got the bombers being moved up. And then running away, being scared off. You know, obviously just committing these guys in. As I said, these guys do explode walls very effectively. They're really good at blowing up walls. And they'd be great at attacking that inner layer. Fountain Guard they would send flying. So throwing these guys forward, just to kind of scare off the enemy line. And you can see there's a big breaks happening throughout the evil line. You get a nice little bird's eye view. You can see like infantry is breaking, the defenses are holding. And now we are finally starting to see more soldiers being brought around. But the defenders does such a good job at just kind of holding the line. The cavalry is being seen. There is actually a little bit of a scrap happening at the back of the settlement here. But again, Citadel Guard, Fountain Guard. I mean, obviously one of the best units to deal with that, the units of the Warlords of Rune. These guys are amazing at killing armored units. But even still, I mean, I don't know why this unit of cavalry didn't rear charge them. I guess they're focusing on maybe trying to kill the enemy cavalry. Oh, a nice little cut charge right there, catching the enemy cav completely off guard there. Bane of the Steppe being charged. And yeah, seemed to be enveloped by the cavalry coming across the oasis and into them. Hyperless unit of Swan Knights can hold the enemy in place. Up to 400 kills on this Swan Knight unit. And yeah, they are very much committed to engaging this year. I do not see a way that the forces of evil can win this day. Even of missiles here, it's just not going to be enough, I don't think. Morale is really dwindling. I say that though, but they are like making progress. They're like breaking the enemy here. Over on this side, we are seeing the soldiers being brought back. So I don't know, maybe there is a chance, but I don't see it. You know, with only 4 minutes left of the battle, I think it is very unlikely they are going to be able to clutch this one out. But then again, they still have so many men left, so who knows? There is still a lot of soldiers. Like, we take a look at the kill count. You know, there's still 4,000 men left. Oh, the bomber's going to blow up? Oh, that'd be amazing. Let's see if these guys do get stuck in over here. Oh, that's a big, obviously, hit. But I think one of the enemy general over here did go down again. It's not going to be good for morale. You can already start to see it kind of ricocheting through a lot of these depleted units. But I say that, you know, the defenders are being brought back. You know, it's not awful. The Berserkers are now in an all-out rage. They are uncontrollable as they commit in. Swan Knights continuing to rack around. How many kills is this Swan Knight unit? Only a 78. God, what a pitiful amount. As the Archer continues to hit these Uruk pikes. Quickly trying to form themselves up. Oh, the bombers as well. I imagine the cavalry is going to go right into them, but I wonder if they can blow themselves up in time. Because it is a little bit finicky when the bombers do get stuck in. And this unit is obviously kind of going in. Are they going to blow up? Are they going to get run through? No, they just die. There's like 1 left, 2 left on that charge. Obviously, their main goal is to... They're going to try to blow up. They're going to try to blow up. Oh, they're so close. Because you can see when they're going to try to blow up when they get that little bow right there. I don't think he's going to be able to, no. Yeah, he got thrown around. Obviously, the sappers are much more designed for blowing up walls and in like more defensive positions. Obviously, cavalry will just kill them very effectively. So a nice move right there. And honestly, I'm feeling with only 2 minutes left of this battle, I'm kind of feeling like the defenders are just going to give up. Realizing that there's no way that they can take that inner layer. Because every position is just, yeah, not looking too good. Even down here on this side, we are seeing a unit of Aphelion Rangers with over 400 kills. Able just to send plenty of men back. Yeah, and a lot of these small soldiers. Maybe you have another unit of these champions of Gondor. I just don't think it's going to be enough. And with the balance of power bar becoming even now, I think the defenders are going to... I think the attackers are going to throw in the towel now, realizing that there is no way they're going to take this inner layer, realizing there is no hope left. I'm just going to say GG, because I mean, this inner layer is so well defended now. Fountain Guard and Citadel Guard across the board. And there's just not really the soldiers here. There you go. They gave up right there. There just wasn't really the soldiers left. And that cavalry would continue to harass them. I mean, look at the kills on that cavalry right now. 400 kills, 200, 200. It's just super impressive. Over on the other unit as well. Plenty of kills on these archers. With Aphelion Rangers up to 500 kills. And over on the other side as well. Peregrine Marines doing pretty decent indeed. On the attacking side, we do have the Berserkers, 200 kills on that one. The Easterlings, unfortunately, their Warlords of Ruin couldn't really get themselves stuck in, but the Warriors did a pretty good job, 200 kills there. Dol Guldur, we have their Wraiths, and also, their Cavalry doing a little bit okay, but nothing too special. And then Mordor as well. It could be, again, the Orc Pillagers paying for themselves, and obviously the Guards of the Teeth as well. So a really fun battle. Big shout out to the guys who sent this one in to me. I really do appreciate it. If you guys want to see more Rise of Mordor on the channel, make sure you do go ahead and drop a like and a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.